This year and all year, Jazz at Lincoln Center has been celebrating, programming, reveling in the Ellington legacy. Here in the Land of Lakes, Upper Midwest, some 1,500 miles from New York City and Lincoln Center, I thought I would like to invite Wynton Marsalis, Artistic Director of Lincoln Center Events for Ellington, to join us for a capsule review of all the celebration. Wynton Marsalis, welcome to Minnesota Public Radio and the Jazz Image. We'd like to participate vicariously in all that you're doing. But I really would like to start, for you, when and where did you first become aware of Edward Kennedy Ellington, the Duke?
My father had Duke Ellington albums when I was growing up, and I was aware of who he was. He came to New Orleans in 1970, and I was 9 years old, and my father asked me if I wanted to go to his concert, and I, of course, replied, definitely not.
That was your first impression of Ellington?
Yeah, some old music.
Some old music.
Some old music to be avoided at all costs.
Uh-huh. And what changed that?
I started listening to it.
And as you listened to it, what did you hear?
Everything. People, life, happiness, joyous music, sophisticated music, sexy music, romantic music.
All those things.
Many things.
Well, as time passed and you began to take these impressions and put them together, do you remember first playing an Ellington theme instrumentally?
Well, everybody played Take the A Train, even though Billy Strayhorn wrote it. That was Ellington's theme song, and also the Sea Jam Blues. I can remember that, but I don't really remember making any special note of the fact that it was Duke Ellington.
Well, we might point out that Ellis Marsalis, who had this record collection, really was a very important part of your life.
Oh, yes.
Your father.
Yes, he was.
Uh-huh.
And he loved jazz music and the musicians. And he loved being a jazz musician. And he had to fight very hard to have his identity as a jazz musician, because it was very hard at that time in New Orleans to play some modern jazz, the type of jazz that he played in that city.
And as he overcame it, he went 1,000 miles beyond. The New Orleans Center for the Creative Arts. Does that strike a special note with you?
Oh, yeah, that's a high school that a lot of us went to. Terrence Blanchard went there. He's a great young trumpet player out here. Well, we're not so young anymore, actually. Great trumpet player. And also writes music for films. And my brother Branford and Harry Connick Jr. went there. And Donald Harrison went to the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. And there was a lot of energy going on at the school at that time. Very small, close-knit family of people who were dealing with the arts with a very strong faculty and a very, very good feeling. At that time, in the mid 70s, when we attended the school, and whoever attended there, had left an indelible impression on us, and it shaped our lives in a positive way.
Wynton Marsalis, in the school faculty, any particular mentor or teacher that really helped, along with your father's influence, to stimulate and point?
All of my teachers were great. My theory teacher, Bert Bro, he was a great instructor. My trumpet teacher, George Jansen, taught. He taught me so much about playing the trumpet and being a musician. And really very fortunate with my teachers.
Minnesota Public Radio and the Jazz Image, touching base with Wynton Marsalis, Artistic Director of Lincoln Center's all jazz activities, and this year the giant cycling celebration from January to December, the Ellington Centennial. We'll talk again in a moment, Wynton Marsalis, and thanks very much for giving us an insight into how you discovered Ellington, how you rejected Ellington, and then how you gained that appreciation for him. Let's talk more in a moment. It is fall in the year 1999. Since January, Lincoln Center has been celebrating the legacy of Edward Kennedy Duke Ellington, born on April 29th, 1899. It goes on, and in charge of the artistry and the direction is Artistic Director of Lincoln Center Events for Ellington and for all of the Ellington and other jazz activities of Lincoln Center, Wynton Marsalis, symphonic, jazz, trumpeter, and extraordinary leader and stimulator. Welcome to Minnesota Public Radio and the Jazz Image. We'd like to participate with you in this year-long celebration.
Did you call me a stimulator?
Yes. And do you reject that?
No, I don't reject it.
Well, it certainly taps the inner motivation if you have one. Motivation, that is.
Right.
Well, you've arrived at a time in your life when you have just gone a strange and wonderful gamut from New Orleans to New York, and not strange, but a wonderful, stimulating experience from the learning side to the directing side. And somehow or another, I want to just tap into how you evolve this Ellington Centennial and with your troops and your team and your directors.
Well, our administrative director and executive producer is a guy named Rob Gibson. And we have a concept we call Land, Air, and Sea. And it means that we do all that we can in every venue we can. We give lectures at the Juilliard School. We work with the Film Society on a film program for Duke Ellington. We do chamber music concerts, a young people's concert with the Chamber Music Society for Duke Ellington. We work with the New York Philharmonic to do arrangement of Duke Ellington pieces and play with our orchestra playing with theirs. We work with the New York City Ballet to do some Duke Ellington pieces and have it choreographed for the New York City Ballet dancers. We do our essentially Ellington High School Band and Festival and Competition. We do young people's concerts around the world, who is Duke Ellington. We have a small band concert of Duke Ellington. We do the sacred music of Duke Ellington. We put out a book on Duke Ellington. And we do concerts of Duke Ellington's music and only the music of Duke Ellington all around the world for the entirety of this year. So in that way, we tried to, the only thing that we didn't do was a popular dance. Well, actually, I'm wrong about that. We did that. We worked with Midsummer Night's Swing, which is the outdoor Lincoln Center festival that people come and dance on the plaza of Lincoln Center.
Right by the fountain.
We did an outdoor concert in Central Park, like a park picnic with a pie competition, pie baking competition. So we also did a parade down Broadway from 59th Street with the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority. We played on the A train, and then we went out and played and walked to the plaza and played with all of our kids who were here for the essentially Ellington Festival. So we were trying to just play Duke Ellington's music in every venue we could think of and collaborate with as many constituents of Lincoln Center as we could.
Wynton Marsalis, I'd like to talk to you in a moment about what your vision is of all of these programs and the mediums in which you've been working. And if you would, give us some impressions of how these programs individually sort of work their impact on the audience. Once again, Wynton Marsalis, welcome to NPR and the Jazz Image. And I also repeat again, we're vicariously participating with you. Now, all the events you described in one of our other conversations, the different mediums that you've used, when you began to deliver Ellington in a solid way, in a thematic way, what was the audience response and what was the medium? Was it the orchestra, the small combo? Was it a film or what?
Well, always the orchestra. When you play Duke Ellington's music and his arrangements, the audience always responds ecstatically and enthusiastically because they've never heard these types of voicings. And if you didn't hear Duke Ellington's band play, you really wouldn't have ever come into contact with it. And we try to get it on the radio. We have a radio show. And we also try to play on television whenever we can, and we always play the music of Duke Ellington.
Now, just the other side of that is the musicians that you've handpicked in your orchestras to deliver this music. A lot of them never heard Ellington in person, except maybe one or two or three in your organization who had an opportunity. And what did you discover among the younger musicians as to how they assimilated the music and, worked the whole combination artistically?
Well, most of the guys in our band, fathers were musicians, and they've grown up with this music. They've known it. They've heard it. They play with tremendous personality. They work very hard, and they're very serious about playing it. So it's just a matter of us getting together as an ensemble and discussing how we want to play it. I mean, musicians in the band are very serious, so they get a lot of the music together, and the sections work out their different things, and we listen to the tapes, we work on the music, but we always try to play Duke Ellington's music the way that he would have liked it, which is we just play it. We don't fuss over it. We play it, and we try to play the way we would play it, because you can't recreate the sound of his band. That would be impossible.